fine if LGD take... I mean, if they're leaving both open, right, they're fine with either one. But I think they were banking on, if they take Zeri, they are fine giving that up and going the Taliyah route. But it is going to be the opposite. Xiaohu not going to get his hands on the Taliyah that you've been heralding, but does set up for them if they do want to go for the Zeri. And heck, even the Yuumi being open if they just want to go for that tried and true combination. True. Surprisingly, though, Ming has not pulled the Yuumi out yet this split.
And he's already played like 12 unique champions. So we're gearing up the barrel for a 13th as Wei wants to bring out the Viego yet again. A lot of people shied away from this lyric, and looks like Wei won't be one of them.
I feel like we've got two junglers that are fine going back to this if other things are banned out, which is Wei and Tien.
Yeah.
I think other junglers here might be like, hey, maybe a JinJiao, you know, maybe a Trundle comes out, but RNG gonna go to their tried and true Viego pick. And Fearness, like, I remember when we got first pick Fiora on blue side coming out from LGD, they were able to win that game, and it looks like gonna put the same confidence here once again. And for LGD, I mean, I feel like something like a JinJiao can set them up for better team fighting, but it is their last series, Shadow. If you want to go towards that Lee Sin pick, which you're famous for, no, it's the time.
It would be the time, wouldn't it? But no, we get JinJiao instead. So bit of setup for the top side lyric. While for RNG, you mentioned things like the Yuumi, but they're not even looking at Ming's champion pool. Instead, getting Xiaohu on something that can bully out the lane. And you know, Xiaohu, this is one of his more played lyric, but it hasn't been as successful as things like the Ari, the Lissandra, and the Taliyah. This, on the other hand, would be something that we've seen him on, something that can move across the map, and yeah, dunk down with the Galio. Hello.
Very interesting to see how they maneuver this one so far, not really having any engage or anything. That could too well bring in the Galio. Of course, again, you just have options, like, depending on what he goes rune-wise, if he does want to opt into something like a Predator, or even go in Sealed Spellbook and have the Ghost, you know, at his whim. So we'll kind of see what setup Xiaohu does go for. I like the takeaway of the Sivir, considering you already have the Zeri, not wanting to go for that trade, enabling champions like JinJiao be able to run in and just frontline for someone that has so much AoE shred coming through. And even Sivir really good against champions like Galio with the spell shield. He's low range, and it doesn't really impact you having that 500 range. RNG, though, I'm interested to see what they go for support, because considering that they didn't really value that Yuumi coming through and that Ming hasn't pulled it out just yet, might signal that, you know, it's not a champion that RNG really care about is, Neela taken off the board.
Well, that's the first, isn't it? We haven't even seen Neela picked up in the LPL yet, so...
We saw it hovered last series, and I feel like that's the most that we've gotten.
That's true. I mean, hey, even the Belveth came through when it came out on release, but people have been even less adamant to pick that one up. But at the very least, for RNG with that ban away, means they're targeting something that isn't the Aphelios lyric. I'm curious to see what happens for LGD's bottom lane. But further to your point, you said for RNG, they haven't been adamant on the support. Ming is someone who played Alistar, Nautilus a lot of the time. Are we going to get something super aggressive top in the meanwhile with the support counter?
I mean, they're trying to find an answer to the Fiora, right? So kind of already hovering some things that can do decently into her, like they showed the Quinn, now showing the Renekton, and now they're just going to go for this, try and find that early game lead, providing a bit more of a frontliner and a skirmisher than what Fiora could be. We also know later on in the game, you will just be, you will struggle very hard to find an impact. I was going to say be absolutely useless, but you know what? I like to give Renekton the benefit of the doubt now, going through the options. This is one of the things we saw coming out quite a bit when Zeri first got introduced into the LPL. I don't feel like it was finding great success. Like, maybe you can come out and find that cheeky kill at level 1 where you can use your Q, like sneak up on them and find that advantageous trade, especially when you have more summoner spells available with the fact that you're taking that Yuumi, who typically does go, you know, double combat summoner spells. Now for RNG, I mean, you have the Lulu. I don't feel like you have really too much available unless you wanted to go for like a tank engage support and just try to perma play with your jungle down bot side. But honestly, for RNG, I feel like they're going to lock this in. I'm interested to see how they play this one out. Once again, not really having too much engage brought in. A lot of it's going to be just on either Xiaohu running in himself or like Breathe coming off on flanks to make things happen. But definitely for the side of RNG, if they don't get ahead early, they're going to be putting all their eggs in the Gala basket later on.
I mean, risky business, right? Because RNG needing a 2-0 to lock in second feels like this is the comp that is going to be, again, using the word risky, especially, as you said, if they don't get ahead early. Run me through LGD a little bit more, because there's a lot of options here, a lot of scaling, a lot of side lane presence with the Taliyah added in mid.
For LGD, I mean, I feel like they have kind of numerous ways they can play the map, pending on how the early game goes against RNG, right? They can rely on those sides. They have the Fiora, she's going to outscale. You have the Weaver's Wall to look to impact. And even Twitch, one of the better AD carries is that if we're in a lane allocation where he's just catching waves mid, because of your Q, you can very easily like sneak over to a side lane and also provide that cover. Their team fight, also pretty decent, right? AoE coming out mid lane. You have the AoE from the ult that Twitch has. You have a frontliner in the JinJiao who can become like undying with the heals from Yuumi. So LGD actually, I think, having a few different ways they can play out the map depending on what RNG are able to do. And we said it, RNG kind of feels like they need to find a bit of a lead early on, or this Galio and Renekton can just find it hard to find an impact, and then it will be all about what Gala's able to do on this Zeri.
There's a lot of regions that consider Zeri given over, even in 12-14, is still a death sentence. That 1,000 movement speed champion, I think it was Jamada's tweet recently coming out. Like, this is just, there's been ridiculous pentakills. People saying, we don't feel hyped for Zeri getting a penta anymore. And
72% win rate on 12-14 in the LPL. 72%.
God, that's it's ridiculous, right? And look, Zeri not given over many times, so RNG took it at the trade of the Taliyah. Xiaohu's Taliyah was gorgeous in past games. He's on the Galio, something he can match there as well, as we can talk about as they get 6. But Lyric, it's a 2-0 for RNG, or it is a 3rd/4th place finish. A 2-0 against LGD is what they need in the Hangzhou arena. Otherwise, LGD will be able to push them down, support JDG, who will take that place from them, and make sure RNG have no lifeline in playoffs with their round 3 start. It's so important if you don't know about LPL playoff schedule/format. Top 2 gets locked into double elimination, which in the past for teams like EDG in the previous year heading towards Worlds was what got them through and got that domestic championship. So it is a pretty important part here for RNG as they try that climb starting off this series.
And we can see Xiaohu's rune choice, right? We kind of talked about some of the options that he had, not going for the Predator, not going for the Unsealed Spellbook, actually just opts into the Aftershock, knowing he is going to be the one absorbing a lot of the damage when he does go in, as we saw.
Good
I mean,
replay.
we saw that live. I don't know why the observers had to show that one twice, but also to play the role of being able to give them the option to go in, right? Also having the Ghost available. So I like that RNG at least trying to cover some of their bases so that they will have options later on if this game does get into the weeds. I
was going to ask you a little bit more about the early game, though, as we'll pause because Assum is going into the crush. Gala and Ming are going to be found out as Exhaust goes down at level 1. The strong duo as the poison fully stacks up, but it's the Ignite on the return path as Assum cleanses away. Gala moves back in. The 2v2 is still happening out as Ming is just face first with the Glitter Lance, doing a good job, but you can say that about JinJiao and Assum. RNG taking the worst trade, and at level 1, a close 2v2.
We've actually seen this numerous times come out when the Twitch happens. We talked about it in draft, right? Just popping that Q at level 1, being able to get the sneaky trade coming out. You have an advantage with combat summoners because you do have the Yuumi. Now I want to see if they can do something with this advantage. I can't remember who FPX were facing, but I remember FPX level 1 found a kill in this exact matchup.
True.
And then sadly weren't able to do anything off of that pressure alone. So LGD now having control of the wave. They do have push down towards that bottom side. They will have to be a bit careful, though, because Wei has path down, and it can open for a cheeky gank to come through.
It's a good point. The bottom side is where jungler's going to be at. I like the ward from RNG towards the entrance towards. Pixelbrush has breathed the all in towards top side. Good little slice and dice in and out there as well. Lyric, before we start talking about bot again, I wanted to ask you a bit about this top matchup and where jungle would be affecting it or looking to affect, I should say.
For the 1v1, it's all about if Fearness can repost the W, right? If he could repost that, he will be able to win out some of these shorter trades, get through the laning phase, and we know as he gets more items under his belt, he will be fine. But for Breathe, it's just about weaving in and out the short trades with your Q and slowly whittling Fearness down. But not going to have the opportunity to try to impact this matchup. Breathe doing a great job of keeping pressure up. And RNG already going on the attack so early with Xiaohu waiting in the wings.
He's lost part of his reign of anger here. His fury in his back pocket. So just leaving a little bit further as Xiaohu's angle. Looking good here. Yeah, G might have to burn us. I wonder if it's a Ghost just straight out as the Justice Punch. Past the seismic shove means Xiaohu doesn't get caught. And it's cheeky from RNG to set up as Xiaohu will take a trade on the exit.
I feel like RNG are one of the only teams we still see consistently look for opportunities mid. We have so many champions that can set up ganks so well, but I feel like a lot of times teams not looking for those opportunities, just allowing whatever champion can get prio, by itself in that matchup, and then looking for roams towards sides. But I like that RNG still have these opportunities in mind, because even if you don't kill Yeji, if you can get that flash out, it's going to be a lot harder for him to start making these roaming plays on the map, especially as we're enclosing towards that level 6 point with Yeji already at level 5.
We did talk about the level 6 point. I'm glad as well you brought it back up, because we said for RNG was the lack of the engage. It might have to depend on Breathe or Xiaohu going in himself. So walk me through angles again. Is bot just simple, or... Hang on, Gala and Ming. We're going to get this once again. Never mind my question, Lyric. Hold the thought as Ignite just came back up and they're all inning. But Assum hasn't been able to get too much damage off it as Ming and Gala try and run them down with the Glitterland slowing down. He might be in a bit of trouble. JinJiao trying to save his life and will do so. But this time around, RNG get the better of it.
I also don't feel like this play has the same potency, like, once you get a few levels under your belt at level 1, where things like an Exhaust and Ignite can really make a big difference if RNG just overtrade a little bit. You can see there, shield comes out from Ming, they kite it back. Once those summoners come out, they're just able to get the better end of the trade just fine. But Shadow now...
Yeah, Gala going forward. They know Shadow's nearby, but they're like, hang on a minute. Surely he's not in the lane, right? Way's coming down as well, Lyric.
Okay, so potentially going to get a 3v3. Wei has a level lead on Shadow as well.
Look at that lens. It spotted him out. Wei might have the angle now as Assum and JinJiao have to be careful. Shadow sends out Wind, becomes Lightning, but still it's that Glitter Lance, that Polymorph combo with Ignite just about available. The jungler going to move in. They know it's control warded, but LGD's Assum goes invisible. It's all about timing. They tag onto Ming, but Wei now moves on in as well as LGD go deep for this one. Exhaust is onto Gala, cleanse on Assum again. They commit to Ming. They get first blood, but now under turret Assum. The trade, it's good enough. A double kill onto the Twitch AD. Assum starts 2 for 1 as Gala will get the return, but that's a good trade back from LGD.
I can't believe the damage coming up from Assum in that play. Able to find 2 as Wei. Still going to manage to get the scuttle, but, I mean, huge early start for LGD. 2 kills now on your Twitch.
That's a big deal. Pickaxe picked up, Cull stacked up as well. That bounty on the bottom laner, as we look at a replay here, Lyric, and all I could say is that this anticipation build-up was worth it.
And we see damage coming through, and Assum running forward. Great exhaust onto Gala to prevent some of that damage from being able to come across. Once the E comes through, that guarantees the kill itself. And the whole time as well, Shadow getting a bit of damage onto Gala before he did retreat. And Xiaohu not able to managing to get that ultimate soon enough to make it down. I wish words weren't so hard, but they are.
But look, hey, level 6 is available, as you were mentioning before. RNG surprisingly going to be on the map first to get this dragon. But I want to go forward into that discussion because for Yeji, with Herald coming up in about 50 seconds, it was like the LGD Lyric and the mobility we know on a Twitch Yuumi lane. Maybe this Herald gets a bit easier for LGD.
I mean, it definitely is. For LGD, I feel like they're in such a solid spot with the spot lane matchup, especially now, again, highlighting those item differences, able to constantly keep looking for those trades. And I wouldn't be surprised if LGD take a page out of WE's book in terms of the game plan. Just keep heading down towards that bot side. Fearness, being self-sufficient. He's falling behind, Breathe doing well, with the early power that Renekton offers. And it looks like been kind of constantly holding the wave towards his side, threatening Fearness with these trades so he can't come through. So he'll be fine up in top. LGD probably going to keep angling down towards spot, but with Rift Herald coming up in 10 seconds, I'm curious to see if LGD starts to roam the spot lane up.
Well, the wave gets pushed out here, Lyric, and Assum and JinJiao are going to threaten it at the very least. Twitch is a mischievous rat, though. And we all know that he'd rather go for the blood as we look towards mid with Shadow now joining in for the push. That means that they're going to be able to move over. But look, Way's already started up, Lyric. It's a 3K already. That was very fast.
So RNG using the pressure that Breathe has gotten on top side, it was actually a great job to coordinate his wave with when he would start Herald up.
Okay, Justice Punch comes through though. Shadow with the quick ulti, but has to flash away from Way with the Heartbreaker up and available. Herald goes down, Summoner's down, and that's an RNG win through and through.
And LGD didn't put themselves in a position to look to cross-map, to look to get vision down enemy jungle, or peek their head and see if any camps are available. So I think a bit of a missed opportunity. Shadow will still make his way down there now. Should be able to secure himself a bot side scuttle. And with Gala being all alone in this lane, could be a potential point of pressure to play off of.
At the very least, it feels like for now LGD going to breathe a sigh of relief with full camps up and available. Is this bad, Lyric? It's bad.
They're gonna breathe an aggressive sigh straight onto RNG, and in COVID times you're not supposed to do that, but it didn't happen. They actually back away, and Wei will not have to deal with the smell of LGD's breath.
You know, the people that go over the top and don't want to breathe on photos in case they give them COVID as well.
You know, even just going back in the day of people just being rude in general and like coughing, and you know, like even go back 10 years, you know, get on a flight and people coughing right next to you, like, what are you doing, man? Have some manners.
That's right. And now it's even worse. Now I feel like the people that do that are even worse. There's all in potential up at the top side. Look for that Ruthless Predator as he's waiting for the Grand Challenge. Dominus now popped as well. Breeze still has Flash available and that full Fury bar. All it takes is a W with this Conqueror, and Fearness will die, but not going to go for it. Instead, Cole the Meat comes in, and Breathe is just going to set the waiver.
So, not a lot happening in topside, despite the fact that ultis were traded and they were, you know, peering at each other aggressively. RNG want to try and find some more momentum for their bot lane. I think that's the right call, right? You need to give gold down to your Zeri, because Zeri is going to be pretty much your only damage dealer as this game progresses. But LGD don't fall for it. LGD realize their waves in a bit of a bad spot. You can see where Shadow is on the mini-map, and to prevent themselves from getting punished, they just end up going for a recall.
Can I just say quickly before we continue on, I think the most ridiculous one so far has been blowing out candles on a birthday cake. People use the knife. You know, they swing the knife like a fan is. We are going to get this gank onto Assum in the bottom side lyric. Think on that one for a little bit, because I think it's ridiculous, as he knows something's up. There's no vision. Oh, brush spotted. Lens runs out control ward. There is only a ward in there as Wei now spotted out, but the turret's already pushed out, and RNG have set up the Herald as we get the final chapter in, but Xiaohu here for a defense. Ming has the wild growth himself, but he's still dead. Assum's damage is 3-for-1. Twitch with Blade of the Ruined King has kited this out as his flash saves him again. Yeji now in the flash, predicted by the Taliyah. All hail the President Twitch, who's now set up for a game-changing AD carry experience.
I mean, he's just huge at this point in time. Team fights are going to become so rough. He already has the Blade of the Ruined King in pocket. He's close to finishing off his core. He's going to have so much gold to make his way towards that next item. And, I mean, this is RNG's chance to finish second. This is where you thought it'd be all business. Like, they'd treat this like a playoff match, come in and just stomp LGD, but LGD are not letting that happen.
I mean, this is a great performance, where LGD's carry, this Twitch, is so set up, Lyric, that he's already got Blade of the Ruined King, now has 2 more kills under his belt. That cull is about to be finished in another full wave. And I think we're only seeing the beginning here with a good ulti from Yeji, which we were waiting for with this comp.
I'm just curious to see what he backs with now. Has Zeal. That's it. But again, even close to finishing off that call, we'll be able to make his way maybe potentially towards something like tier 2 boots after he gets a few more waves with that as well.
Yep.
And we've already seen just how strong he was in that last skirmish, but we'll see it here. He knows they're all angling around, right? Dropping the Herald, great usage of the ult to lock down Ming. They know he's so squishy, and he's just able to burn him down, Ignite ticking as well. And Xiaohu doesn't manage to connect the taunt, goes in even deeper after the taunt misses, which puts him in this place where he goes down to the seismic shove. So, oh wait.
Shadow going all in. Hang on a minute. We turn again. RNG, thank you for your donation as Wei goes full throttle. He might die here, but no. The Twitch gets shut down and it goes to Gala. Uh-oh. Zeri got a double kill, and Lyric with the wild growth and the ability to get a triple. Let's give all the money back.
I mean, this is such a rough place for LGD. Everything was going so well. Fearness will be able to get a ton done in this top side, so it's not all for nothing, but giving over those kills, it looks like while we were in that replay as well, RNG picked up the dragon, so RNG keeping their hopes alive.
A 4-1 Zeri versus a 4-2 Twitch. I don't know which one I prefer. Well, actually, I probably do. As we look at this Gendler, who's over the dragon, and a Shadow was out.
LGD were trying to pincer them. You could see that Assum and JinJiao and Yeji were all towards the bottom half of the play, so it allows him to get soloed out. Assum still has the damage to be able to make sure they take down Wei. They already committed in such a bad position. Breathe not showing on top side, your jungler already down, and the fact that they still committed to play just feels rough for LGD. I'm surprised they were going for that pincer movement. I'm guessing that RNG probably guaranteed prio through mid, which is why most of the LGD members were trying to come through bot, and they were hoping to bring Shadow in on the flank, but that just exposes you for RNG to be able to pick off one side of the fight.
And they got double dragon as well, Lyric. Like, they've got the neutrals. We talked a lot about them, you know, kind of bridging the gap from this early game with a big lead. It's only 1,000, but you can see now Tempo's bringing up as Breathe gets himself the Ruthless Predator. That's everything against the Fiora, as that riposte won't do anything. Wei gets himself a free champion, and this is just the beginning, Lyric. The tempo builds up, and top side now a mess.
Look, let's be real. You know, thinking about RNG and how they're coming back in and now finding this lead. I'll pause on my thought. Is Wei actually going to go in on the Shadow?
I mean, Shadow going to get 1v1 here. Maybe not with the ulti. He flashes away. All it takes is a smite to heal up, but both junglers not having it available as Breathe takes the blast cone. Wei gets a bit close for comfort as Breathe makes it a risky play with Yeji running on into the rescue. Blast cone there as he won't get on the right side of it at the very least, and Breathe is just going to wait out to see what he gets while we look back at the bottom lane here. Rat-a-tat-tat, the lightning crash down. Ain't going to be the burst. Gala is dead. Assum is a pain in the bum, Lyric. This Twitch wants RNG to fail, as LGD are going to find another pick towards mid lane. A good win to become lightning as Xiaohu has to bail himself out. But LGD, despite the throw before, Lyric, are still rock hard in this game.
Oh no, and they can look to dive Ming as well.
But there's the Galio ulti. Assum's under turret, and it's a mistake. Oopsie poopsie. As Wei now joins in, the blood's gonna rain from the skies. He needs a blast cone to get out, but JinJiao taking a heavy trade as he runs. The Yuumi looking to reattach is onto Yeji. That's the plan. But RNG now in a choke themselves against the Taliyah Xiaohu with some good fancy movement, but has to rely on the Ming shielding as LGD still ambitious to go forward, Lyric, but look who's here. It's a dinosaur croc because they've got the mid laner in a choke meanwhile. And LGD must have been having some fast food because this has become greasy as hell in the past 5 minutes.
This is just so much non-stop action. Both teams endlessly forcing plays. This time, I mean, LGD, I don't know why you're looking for this once the Twitch is already gone and off the board, and they keep ignoring the fact that Breathe isn't showing on the wave, and since they've gotten top lane turret, it opens up Breathe so much more access to roam. Sure, potentially Fearness could try and set up things like a freeze, but I feel like RNG are fine since they're picking up these kills. We'll see here, going for the dive, I can understand it. Maybe thinking that Xiaohu backed after the gank from mid came through. Yeah. Didn't happen, he's able to join up. And then here, they're trying to chase down RNG. They don't really have a lot of great lockdown. It feels like they're hoping to bait them in with Shadow waiting in the wings, but Breathe's not showing on top wave. So Breathe makes his way down after a reset, opens up for RNG to index into the bottom half of the fight with numbers advantage, and Breathe strong enough to solo kill Shadow at this point in time. But he's a jungler. Breathe having a 2 level advantage on him, now all the way up to a 3, so yeah, overall, I think LGD just looking for a little bit too much.
And I love how you haven't had a real chance to talk about what's been happening and like the effects, right? Because we're in a 4K gold lead all of a sudden for RNG. We've talked up their mid game time and time again, and despite
Dragons in 12 seconds, Hysterics. We don't have time to talk about things.
Oh, dude.
Get those slugs ready to call the fight.
Okay, well, on to Assum then, because that's where it's going to start. On to Gala, well, he's over the wall, baited in. Shadow moving into a choke, though. That's what I'm worried about, is he goes all in onto Xiaohu. The rest of RNG here with Wei holding a grudge in his left hand. Gala's going to clear out this wave, Lyric. Maybe you do have 5 seconds to tell me the setup.
I feel like the most important thing actually is the fact that Galio just got his flashback, because that could have been a window where LGD could have indexed in onto the Zeri and taken him out. But that Summoner spell up now, Dominus for Breathe. I mean, we know the goal for RNG. It's getting Breathe onto Assum and bringing Xiaohu in as well. Gala just trying to kite out around that. For LGD, it's enabling the switch, having the front line, and letting him open his ultimate onto numerous targets.
As Breathe tries to build up his fury, everyone from LGD targeting him. That means they've given up Dragon. It'll be third here for RNG's. Breathe just flashes away. LGD now looking for a steal. Shadow goes on in, doesn't find it. But now he's separated as Breathe is still in dominance with no flash available. He's tearing LGD between the fight, between himself, but it's a Renekton with one item now, assuming that Assum gonna flash forward, get the Venom, almost kills Breathe. The turnaround from Xiaohu. It's a swamp. LGD have walked into certain death as it all looks so good, but RNG outplayed them again.
The fact that RNG can just play on the edges of these fights is so insane. RNG had already gotten everything that they were here to get, but Breathe a little bit too far forward. Guess what, LGD? No, he isn't, because Xiaohu can join with his ulti, Gala can traverse walls, and now it looks like RNG are setting themselves up to take both side lane inner turrets.
Dude, Assum has got this big vibe about him, Lyric. Like, there's so much energy there of this crazy 80 carry, but sometimes, or at least in the last couple of plays, it's been a bit much. As we look at the replay again, and you have to respect, however crazy, that Assum was willing to see this to the end.
I kind of thought that Breathe was ending here. He'd already blown his flash off screen. It looked like he was going to go down. But Assum, like you said, having that energy to flash in, just, I mean, that's what gives it over to RNG, right? Flashes in, hoping to find the kill and Breathe. Even had he found it, though, it still would have set up RNG to be able to clean up and take this fight. Breathe's not a part of it. He's recalling this whole time. So the pincer movement comes out with members like Wei and Ming coming from around River. And RNG now out of nowhere. 7,000 gold up on Soul Point. Let's remember how this game started, with LGD being the team to consistently pick up kills.
True. And the early game looks so clean. Like, this Twitch was set up for success. Because we're not over in the fighting. He'll come through, I believe, here with the movement speed as Ming and Xiaohu now looking for an angle. This Twitch still without flashes. Xiaohu has been so good at these traps. The 12 kill participation. Galio is over the wall. My God. Zeri with terrain scaling, Lyric. You love to see it.
Yeah, and oh, they're going to also try to run down Fearness. They have enough members here. Fearness just gone.
Yeah, Gala's just taking it by himself. Look at the damage out of Zeri. Can't do anything as Xiaohu steals away the kill. RNG using the map movement well, but LGD at least getting a trade through the mid lane and trying to get some gold back on their side after this.
This is a Baron, though, for RNG. I think RNG just turn on the Baron, try and force LGD back into River. Okay. If not, they're going to pick up Baron. That's what's going to happen.
Well, Assum has his ult available. No flash. That Twitch needs a solid straight line as G without the Weaver's wall, but still with the seismic shove. Baron going down real quick as they look at a flip it, but you have to be careful. Shadow runs in early with the Crescent Guard. Ming is going to be the target, but Assum has now exposed himself. Gala is laughing because no one cares about him, but it's Zeri in 2022, and RNG get all the pickoffs to make this Baron even easier than before.
And as Assum, I don't feel like you can be looking for these types of angles. I feel like the way you want to be fighting RNG is having Shadow, having Fearness kind of right there in front of you. Obviously, Fearness was down, but buying you that space to be able to utilize your ulti effectively, find these picks. Tries to go in. They're trying to make a hero play with the best that they have since that pick went over. But, I mean, this now is just RNG's. We were questioning RNG and their path to that top 2 when the game started. But now it just looks all but inevitable to at least take this game 1. And now we're going to see how this all goes down. I mean, they all come from different angles, right? Yeji's staying over the wall, Shadow goes in, but Assum kind of all off to his lonesome. I mean, he has JinJiao, but it gives the angle for Wei to be able to just jump right on top of him.
Whoopsie. Well, Yeji could stun away from Wei. As Gala runs in forward, a seismic shove to get him out. He used the ghost here, but with no summoners left remaining, a Weaver's wall, he's not going to be pulled on off. Goes for a little mission, and Yeji lucky to survive. But Lyric, it's a 10k gold lead. I can't believe it is a 10k gold lead. This felt close up to a point, but all of a blink of an eye, as you were saying, RNG make it so that this game 1 is an absolute at 22 minutes in the game, and now with all the resources available, an Infernal Soul in 40 seconds, that Baron is going to get value.
It's even a double-edged sword for LGD, considering that all of their resources are on one member, because, like, cool, Assum's accelerated, but he's the only one that RNG need to focus. Like, they all have item advantages literally in every other role.
Yeah, that's a Galio with Magi's as well. So count that as a third item versus 1.5 from Yeji. Even that top lane Breathe, who's gone for, let's call it like the Belveth adaptation Yone build, right? Blade of the Ruin King, Sunfire here, Lyric. Breathe is still 2 levels ahead and is maintaining such a big CS lead while the rest of RNG are pressuring down mid.
Yeah, you know, going back to Breathe, right? Indexing into more of that frontline role. This is something you see a bit in solo queue these days. A lot of times you do see the Frostfire Gauntlet is what comes out, but still, they got ahead. He had more money under his belt, so wanted to just go straight up for the Sunfire, try and get that more damage off, and, you know, 10 more armor and 10 more MR than what Frostfire would give. So RNG now that they have Soul, now that they have Baron, it's just time to see them tunnel down mid lane and give us these exciting fights.
As a 5-man unit, Breeze is even joining in close to 16 as There's going to be pure force. Good seismic
Ghost
shove,
pop.
but here we go. Xiaohu into the backside, and guess who's dead again? Assum now the target of every Birdman in the mid lane as Breathe joins in, forced the flash from Shadow. Fearness getting a reset as Xiaohu was stuck in no man's land, but it is still a 2-for-1. It is still an RNG big trade. I was going to say something ginormous, Lyric, probably the better word.
I mean, for RNG, they might even just be able to end here. Like 20 seconds on Yeji, 15 seconds on Assum. They still have Baron. They still have Infernal Soul.
Why
they
not?
can just look to take the game.
And Gala's the AD carry, right? He's going to shred these turrets as LGD. Trying to create the upset, but RNG not letting them here in this game. One step away as Nexus turret's getting chipped down, but look at the death time as Assum's back up. Yeji with his ulti in 5 seconds as well. RNG have to turn tail as Shadow tries to buy time, but now just give it a free kill over to Breathe as Fearness jumps in. Wei wants to go all in, but he's going to be shut down too. Spray and pray continues as Yeji TP'd in for the angle. RNG now choked out as it's another shutdown, but that damage from Gala insane as Fearness chases this up. The flash forward, the triple kill. RNG tried to end. They're going to pay for it with a quadra over to Fearness, and the game will go on.
Huge for the side of LGD. They buy themselves some more time. I don't know how much this changes the dynamic of the game, though. I'm interested in seeing how much gold Fearness has to back on. Maybe get like another item under his belt, but still, their base exposed in the mid lane. I gotta say, if RNG could have found a kill when they were looking for the end, right? It looks like that's what they were hoping to do. Earlier, before the replay started, they tried to all in on Fearness. If they could find that kill, they could probably go for the end. They couldn't. They still are able to find Shadow. Once Wei tries to get on top of Assum, they're able to keep running the members of LGD down, and most importantly, Yeji cutting off their escape route with the wall. And now with Yuumi on top of Fearness, you're getting that movement speed. You have that Q as still has it, and this time it'll help him get away.
Well, he's the
great
most strong member. You know, we've got a Fiora now with a 5-3-0 scoreline, so props to Fearness up again that quadra kill. It looks like we're going to have to put a little bit more threat in the side lane, Lyric, and let's come back to it. Even though I know RNG have the Infernal Soul, as you said, mid's open, like, there's a lot
All
of
the
opportunity.
gold, item advantages, more trophies.
But LGD are only 6k gold behind now. And you did say this composition has a lot of windows into late and how it scales out with the Fiora side lane. That is a 3-item Fiora if they can hold on.
I mean, it'll be hard for them. It'll be incredibly hard. It is still possible, though, right? And obviously, we saw RNG overstep. I feel like RNG have always been a team that does overstep or over-index into trying to find kills. Like, they don't shy away from the action, even if they aren't one of the teams we maybe think of as more bloodthirsty in the LPL. If they see, you know, a potential pick, they will always go for it. So for RNG, we'll see if they open themselves up to being punished more, or if Fearness can just keep all-inning down the side lane. We still don't have Elder up for 2.5 minutes, so you definitely have a bit of time to play with for LGD.
And it's objective bounty as well. 5k now, the difference is Gala's damage is something that you did talk about still scaling, as he's ready to head forward into Shadow, into Assum with Yuumi. Yeji on the backside as well, as that Fiora just waiting for a teleport angle. But as Gala clears out the wave, Assum's going to go full throttle. Is this a mistake, though, if he gets spotted out? Gala, there he goes, just over the wall, and Wei not going to pounce with Xiaohu at his side. So a tense moment here for RNG as they look to put the finishing touches yet again, and they go for the all-in. Wei, meanwhile, onto Assum. He goes golden to buy time, but Gala is stepping up with the electroshock laser. He's charged up, ready to go. And now Assum in the worst position possible. Justice punch, a slap to the face, and just as LGD were gearing up to surprise us, RNG strike back.
I thought Wei was crazy because Wei just instantly flashed in by himself onto Assum. Breathe now. Might be punished.
16. He's got the ulti. He can survive this, Lyric, and the rest of RNG are on their way through. Fearness under turret, buying time, but he's taking a lot of damage. Still with the grand challenge, heals up as RNG still on the chase path, and never mind. Breathe going down, no trade-off as they still want more.
I think RNG are smart to back off there, right? Because if you have Xiaohu trying to cut off the escape route, you could actually open up a scenario where Fearness can just try and like quickly burst down and take out Xiaohu, and then leave Gala in a bit of an exposed position. But man, the Fiora with this Yuumi now having the Death Stance, it feels like he's just becoming too much of a handful to deal with.
Look at the gold given over 405 each as Demolish helps take it down and Wei with the chase, but Fearness having the movement speed and Fearness also having enough mana to get away with one more dash, Lyric. That's so much gold given over as LGD now only 4,000 behind. This game's looking shaky, and I like shaky games with elders spawning in 45 seconds.
I'm not misremembering, right? At its height, this game was a 10K gold lead for RNG.
A little bit more than that, that's right.
And now here we are. And just crazy that the member to claw it back was not the Fed Twitch. It's all coming from the top lane. And honestly, also just showing how much of an annoyance, how much of a nuisance this Yuumi is being as well. The endless healing coming through for Fearness. And for RNG, kind of seeing the deficiencies in their composition. We'll see if they can make this work again, but it's constantly been Wade kind of jumping in solo, trying to set Xiaohu up to come in. It works, but Shadow.
That's a flash from Shadow for the engage. The ulti comes out. Shadow, over ambitious, as now he's Xiaohu with the flash shielded around. They turn onto Fearness, but look at Wade yet again. Going into GA with the jungler down. That engage from Shadow may have cost them the game. LGD trying to be friendly with JDG to knock RNG's spot off that podium, but they're not going to be able to do it. Gala's got the movement speed of a BMW running 10 different engines. That's going to be 3 dead, Lyric, and the base is going to be dead.
In the past 2 fights they've won have been off RNG engaging, RNG making mistakes. Shadow feeling too pressured, RNG just gonna look for the end here.
Fearness gonna try at the very least here. He's got flash available, but everyone launching into him, there's nothing you can do. JinJiao has to watch as this 39 kill game comes to its close. This was a fiesta, but it was an enjoyable one to say the least.
I gotta say, if these are the types of games that are going to qualify RNG for top 2 over JDG, I gotta say it feels wrong. Still though, RNG, they did have a rough early game. They did manage to come back. We can, for the sake of our mentals, we could ignore the fact that they almost threw it right back to LGD. But hey, they came out with a comp that, again, in my mind, kind of looked rough to be able to play and be able to close out the game with. Having Renekton, Viego, Galio, Lulu, kind of this core, you're really setting no one up for this Galio to be able to go in. It's just really rough. Not a lot of damage if the game goes late. But they made it work. They made it work. You're laughing.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like RNG, we're like, oh, we don't really care, or...
They care, dude. They care. It's a buy into double elim. They care.
Of course they should care. But maybe, maybe overconfident. I don't know. Hey, let's be real, though. For LGD, the bloodthirsty nature to come out of this team, the strength of some of these engages, not the last one from Shadow, which kind of hurt Lyric, the Assum flashing in, that game had a lot of frills and frolics, I will say, for a team that is currently sitting 16th.
Look, if we had a best Giga Chad Moments award in the Golden Ricks, but it's best Giga Chad Moments that didn't work out, that Assum one can be in there. The flash was cool. And that's one thing to respect coming out from LGD this game, and both teams, right? A lot of proactivity, both teams constantly trying to make things happen. There was that span from 8 to 15 minutes where every time we came out of a replay, there was still a fight happening. So I kind of hope we get the same thing going into game 2. And for RNG, I mean, we saw why they were able to close it out. Gala with a great performance. And RNG overall in the mid-game, we're just trading up on so many of the rotations. But I will give, the kudos and the special shout-out to Fearness for once again showing why so many teams opt to ban this Fiora away from LGD.
Yeah, look, this was second rotation, Lyric, on blue side, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
second rotation, first phase.
Blind is insane. Fearness had his moment in the sun there for sure. His stats obviously highlighted at the end too with JinJiao by his side, but let's be real. Early game belonged to LGD. Early game was about this Twitch Yuumi in the bottom lane, which Gala and Ming somehow ended up getting a triple kill around after the Dragon Lyric and getting back in themselves. So I guess props to that 2v2 for surviving the onslaught.
Look, I gotta say, RNG now 1 game away from locking in top 2. If they can win next game, they're top 2. I don't know how well their chances are because Hysterics, I feel like me and you have never had a 4-game day this year. I feel like it doesn't happen. So, if that could be used as a metric to decide who will win next game, which is a horrible metric to use, not looking good for RNG.
Well, look, at the very least, with all the 3 games we've had this year, with all the 3 games we've had in this split, maybe RNG give us something a little bit cleaner. Maybe Kenju behind stage gonna put them in line like he did in the IG series.
Bring
at
out
very
the
least.
belt early.
Okay, no, we're not going to a game 3, but we are going to a break, ladies and gentlemen, where we find out if RNG are going to be able to lock in.